Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Inshallah, we'll be waiting for roughly 30 seconds for people to join in. So guys, please share the feeds, and I will request the panelists also to share the feeds, inshallah. The various pages with the links you have, live Deen or YouTube links, etc. The IYC-I links as well. And once inshallah we have 5-6 inshallah individuals joining in, then we'll be inshallah doing the introductions. So I'll wait for roughly 20 seconds more. Like I requested earlier to everyone, I'll just put a comment as well, inshallah, to start sharing the feeds, inshallah, that we can officially make a start, inshallah. Okay, إن الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Jazakallah khair, everyone, for joining in. Special Jazakallah khair, and thanks a lot to all the panelists for joining for today's show. So inshallah, this is the third show of the series, as you are all aware. And this show, we'll be focusing on a number of topics. And now, as you have seen, that we have been delving slightly deeper into this kind of topic of Muslim entrepreneurs. And not only from a theoretical perspective, we have covered quite a few things in the last two shows, but we have also given you suggestions, some ideas as to how to actually go about doing it. So today's show, inshallah, is going to be focusing on three particular areas, and you will see, inshallah, those three particular areas. Before I do that, before we jump in, inshallah, so just a bit of introduction for everyone. So we have, mashallah, Dr. Imran Khan with us, who is, mashallah, a highly qualified, obviously, individual, not only in computer science field, but in entrepreneurship. Mashallah, he's been conducting a number of trainings, across Pakistan, and mashallah, his audience has now grown onto other countries as well. And he has been helping a number of startups in Pakistan, and not only the concept of the startup, but he has been instrumental in the Tijara boot camp, where the zero capital business approach has been adopted, which inshallah he'll be speaking about. Then we also have Brother Salman. Brother Salman, mashallah, I've known him personally for a very long time, around about, I would say, 15, 16 years, mashallah. And he is an MBA, and he has been living in Canada for a number of years before he moved to Saudi. He's an investor in Saudi Arabia and has been involved in multiple, mashallah, businesses, not only from an IT perspective, but mashallah, he has been actually involved in a number of areas like food, restaurant business, hotels, etc. So he'll be speaking about that, and we'll be discussing things with him, inshallah. And last but not the least, we have Brother Abdul Rashid, who is, mashallah, the CEO and co-founder of WA Brands, and all of you who have been to Chacha Ji in Pakistan, or China Grill, or Tao, or the Vintage, or the Snack Attack, various brands, mashallah, which he holds and his team, mashallah, holds within Pakistan. And also, I do believe they also have Chacha Ji somewhere in South Africa as well, if I remember exactly. So, mashallah, they have done very well over the last few years. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give barakah in all of their risks. So now, guys, start sharing the feeds. Like I said, today is a show not to be missed, because today we are going to be really delving deep into each area of exactly what success means, what is ethical entrepreneurship, etc., etc. So, may I request Brother Salman to start with you, inshallah, before I jump on to others, as you seem to be, by your whiteness of the beard, mashallah, you seem to be the senior most in the crowd. So, inshallah, so the first question to you is, just talk to us a little bit about your experiences, your ventures, not a lot of detail, but an overview, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. It's a beautiful, nice day out here in Waterloo, Canada. And since the lockdown, we have been stopped for traveling. So alhamdulillah, nice place right now, good weather. So Jazakallah khair for the opportunity, Brother Nafez, and I welcome all the panel members who are joining us here as well. Very humble start. Went to school in Multan, did my MBA. From there, MIS was the specialization at that time because IT was just taking over most of the the academic side of the domains. First job went into hospitality, worked for Intercontinental in Canada as well as in holiday in Pakistan. Then, corporate world, spent 8-10 years, worked for New York Times, HP Consulting, US, Canada, and then said, enough is enough. So let's do something else by ourselves. Because, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us so much potential. And when we are working in one particular job, we realize that, if we can contribute more than that. So that was the first avenue or first venture. Said logically what we can do, knowledge workers, let's start a consulting. So that was the first step. So open up Q4 Solutions Consulting, made a decision to make a move from Canada to Saudi Arabia, 2005. Open up technology consulting, went into different management sort of stuff. Technology was really taking off back 2005. Then realized we should have a product as well. So Slice of New York, that was the venture that was the pizza by Slice in Middle East. All right, malls were coming up and people wanted to eat. So we said, okay, let's get into that. That was the venture. Little bit time spent in construction and real estate in Dubai, and then got back into my hospitality. And 2 years ago, we created a platform called fanatic.com. And it is driven based on the fact that religious tourism or the travel, people go to Makkah and Medina and face a lot of challenges in terms of transparency. So we said, bring e-commerce, marketplace, technology into the industry and just pursue that. So now we are running 2 portals. One is fanatic.com for a B2B, and a B2C, we have a product called Umrah Companions, where any pilgrim can build their own packages, Umrah packages when they want to travel to Makkah and Medina.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Dr. Imran, coming to you, inshallah. Talk to us a little bit about your ventures initially, and then we'll inshallah delve more.
Mic is mute.
You're on mute, Dr. Imran. Yeah.
Sorry. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you for inviting me to this online show. I've been following this show for the past couple of weeks, and you guys are doing amazing job. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this effort. Back in 1996, me and my brother, we started our first venture. We graduated in 1996, and we were thinking about that we should do something for this country. We started off with an educational institute. We took permission from our parents, and we had only one room, and that was our drawing room. And we acquired it, and then we started our first venture in 96. In 99, the technology boom was about to, take off, and we started a technology venture in 99. And after 9/11, we thought we should close all these technology ventures because we can no more, take projects from, abroad. But in 2005, we again started our own software house. At that time, it was quite new for me. Still, 10 years, because 9 years back, it was my first venture. And after 9 years, we started our first software house. Then I went for PhD, and in 2015, I started my second, my fourth and fifth venture. So altogether, I in progress, and 3 ventures, I have hibernated those. So what I learned from these ventures, that failure is part of your journey. Success and failure, it comes along with this journey. So you don't need to, you don't need to worry about failure. And fail forward is the thing that you should follow, because I learned a lot in all those failures that came across in my life, and then I carry forward those learning along with me and start a few more ventures. What was the breakthrough in my life? It was 2007 when I started learning book of transaction from Imam Bukhari, Sahih Bukhari. That was an eye-opening for me, because you guys must have heard about Sahih Bukhari, and you must have read all those hadith. But when I started studying book of transaction, it was amazing. We have been teaching Western models in our entire life. Like, you talk about Stephen Covey, you talk about uh, Bill Collins, you talk about Edward D. Has. We have been teaching these models. But what I came across from our own experience, and each and every hadith was talking about something good for our business, all those principles. Then I started studying those hadith and extracting, because I'm a researcher, I'm a technologist as well as a business
Dr. Imran,
consultant. So what I
yes, Dr. Imran, if I may,
Sure.
sorry, interject just a couple of things. Inshallah, we'll delve into all those details. I just want to do a small little quick intros for everyone, and inshallah, then we'll
Sure.
go more into
So
how you
that was
came
my
about that.
actually start of right. So since that time, I have been conducting various workshops and writing case studies and providing consultancy to family business owners. And recently, Alhamdulillah, I conducted an online course with 57 cities, people from 57 cities and 18 countries. So it's a wonderful experience. And what I have been learning, that following the footstep of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is only a way of success for all of us. No failure in that journey. Please, thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Abdul Samad, my old friend. Again, mashallah, I can't even remember when it was the first time we met, but mashallah, you're an inspiration, brother, for a lot of people. And may Allah, inshallah, put more barakah in whatever you do. So tell us a little bit about your journey, because your journey of entrepreneurship started at a really young age. So, and from that angle, whichever person who is kind of in the 17, 18, 20 age bracket, they need to listen to your story. So if you can please tell us about that.
Jazakallah khair for having me over. Jazakallah khair for the intro. My journey was a little unusual. Again, coming from a family business background. So eventually, this is what happens in Pakistan when you come back from studies. You are actually, even if you don't want to go into business, you're still put into business. So you're given the keys of the shop and you say now you have to sit here. So this was similar to my case as well. So I started off when I came back from Canada in 2003, and I was given this new venture we were doing with external partners. So this was a family venture, and I was made in charge of running it. I was 20 years old back then. This is 17 years ago. And since then, there have been lots of ups and downs. And the journey has been very learning, very helpful. And Alhamdulillah, here we are after 17 years with 30 plus outlets, 650 plus employees, and across Pakistan and East Africa, as you mentioned earlier.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Excellent. So now, we can talk actually so much, because I'm sure everyone has so much learnings in their experiences with various companies, with various groups, whether it's corporate, whether it's business, whether it's training, whether it's teaching. But, I would like to actually focus a little bit, and I will request, starting with Brother Salman, is that, what is that which you worked, in your businesses? For example, if you can pinpoint, let's say, top 2 or 3 things which really clicked and which really worked, and which is your suggestion or the go-to points for any new entrepreneur Muslim specifically entrepreneur willing to jump the ship?
Okay, interesting. See, the thing is, today we have very interesting models of entrepreneurship out there. Everybody's after getting an idea. People are talking to each other, people are searching ideas, and then you find people who have spent their money, time, efforts, and they start building a product. The next thing that we see is in entrepreneurship, people are running after money and raising the money. So funding. And then next thing is, okay, how to get the customers, where are the KPIs and all that stuff, right? But if you really see, this is all good. You got to do all that stuff. But does it make you as an entrepreneur? Is that a question? Is it really what the entrepreneurship is all about? Or how then you are going to differentiate a business from an entrepreneurship, right? So all this is going to come and play a role based on what your value set is. What is your talent? What are you passionate about, right? So end of the day, it's all about how much clarity you have as an individual, where you believe that you can do more than what you can do in a job. And that's where you make a transition. You can be an entrepreneur while you are creating the value for your colleagues, for your customers, for your, the people that you're serving. So what worked for me is, honestly, I think it's that desire to go and do a bigger impact. Because when you are working in an environment where you see that opportunities are all over, available. So the next thing is, either you become selfish and you say, you know what, it's giving me good enough money, it's a better lifestyle, very certain, family is happy, I'm happy, let's go check to check, let's go and live a good, nice living. I think the things that worked for me were the desire to go and serve and create a bigger impact. Then your yaqeen, your tawakkul in terms of, you know what, I'm not going to make only the money, because the money that is being promised already, the risk in different shape and forms, and money is part of it, it's already promised. So what is it that I have to create something on this my period that Allah has given me, that I leave, and I leave a legacy. And when I will reach to my destiny, is it really something that I'm leaving behind? So risk-taking, yaqeen, in terms of moving forward. I think that was a key. Like, you always have a hope and you keep moving forward. I think those are the things that really work for me.
Okay, mashallah. Now, Dr. Imran, coming to you, and we would like to actually focus a lot more on exactly what you do with regards to the incubators and how do you help people. So we'll discuss a little bit more, later in the show, inshallah, what are the opportunities available with the incubators. But if you can tell us a little bit about exactly the same thing what I asked Dr. Brother Salman, which is that what has clicked in the ideas which you've had, and what was the procedure kind of to make them click? You're on mute, Dr. Imran.
Okay, idea. There's a myth that people believe that idea is everything. If you have an amazing idea, then that amazing idea leads to a successful business. What we have experienced in our life, and after guiding so many startups all across Pakistan and around the world, what we have experienced that if you don't have any background knowledge of that particular domain, even if your idea is amazing, you will fail. So prior knowledge is a must. Even if you have a lame idea that you say, oh my God, this is such a small idea and you are going to start this business. But if you are expert in that particular domain, then what we have seen, that people have flourished. They have achieved so many success stories within that business, and they have found out new innovative ways of doing things. So the key behind that success was domain knowledge, expertise, mastery. So first thing, if you're going to start any business, you should be passionate about it, but you should have a prior knowledge of that particular domain. That knowledge is a prerequisite. Passion is fine. We say that if you're passionate about something, then you may find your ways. But you should have at least a little bit knowledge about that particular domain. If you're going to start, for example, a software house, you should know how to build a software. If you're going to start an e-commerce business, then you should know something about how to run a business. Let's say if you don't know how to run a grocery store, you cannot run an e-commerce site. No, dear, you are actually making a mistake. If you cannot sell a single pen, then you cannot sell anything online. So one should take small steps. One should know how to, if you're going to start any venture, whether that is a small or a big venture, get prior knowledge, experience, little bit experience, work in a community, and then take first step. And again, remain yourself, keep yourself in that community, of similar kind of business. If you don't have, people, for example, you are starting an e-commerce business, but you don't have that friends, that circle of people, those who are running e-commerce business, then you will face a lot of difficulties.
Yeah.
So that is my answer to your question.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Very well said, Dr. Imran. Brother Abdul Samad, what has worked?
What I would like to add here is what worked for us was the right team, the right team of partners. That was something which was very essential for any business, I think, to get it from the ground level up. So if you have the like-minded team, that's one of the biggest blessings that you can have. So I had the luxury of that. If it was just myself, it may not have been as easy, I would say. So that's I think that's one thing. The other thing was that everybody was very hands-on and was ready to get their hands dirty. This is something which I feel there's a big gap in Pakistani entrepreneurs. It's because most of them, the background that they come from is an affluent background, and some of them really have good ideas, but they are not willing to get the hands dirty. And as Dr. Imran said, that you need to have that domain expertise. Without having that experience, which Pakistani student base I feel face, because we do not have the culture of going to work when they're studying, going to places like fast food joints, or that's not part of our culture, which I believe is one of the gaps in Pakistan, because they don't get their hands dirty, they don't get that organizational experience right from their school level, which we in the West really got experience from. That cleaning the washrooms, picking up the stocks, that level of work you need to be ready to do for getting your business up and running. And one more thing that I would like to add is willingness to learn, and speed of learning should be very fast in this age. This is this is very fast moving times. Consumer trends are changing constantly. New things are coming up. You have to be very fast to learn and adapt to changes.
Okay, that's brilliant. But if we, for example, you mentioned partners. So how, in your experience, again, obviously this COVID crisis, the hospitality industry and the restaurants business obviously have been the hardest hit in the tourism. These three: transportation, tourism, and hospitality. These are the hardest hit three business domains, you can say, or you can lump them into one maybe. Mashallah, all of your business has been mainly restaurant based, which were locked up. So how have you dealt with that, with the pressure, not only from an employee perspective, but even from the partner's perspective? Because it has been a very volatile time. So if you can tell us a little bit, and some learnings which you would like to share with all of us, please.
This is definitely one of the most toughest and challenging times that we have even faced in our lifetime. But again, as I said, if you have a very, if your partnership is like marriage, as I would say, so you have to actually have a very strong foundation of values within that. So if you are aligned on those values, then you can, cross these tough times and weather it out. These were indeed the most, I would say, in my career, I've never seen such volatile times, and this was extremely unprecedented. And we had to take very tough decisions in these. And the toughest decisions which I feel is when you have to, let go of your people or send them on furlough, and you don't have any clarity what will happen. So I think those were the tough times, and this is when good teams and good partnerships really come into play. When people are actually understanding your challenges, and they are not just understanding it, they're actually giving you a hand in that. So learnings perspective, I think handling pressure from all sides, our suppliers, our associates, that was the most critical part. You had to go and you have to actually have your communications right. You have to communicate every single challenge to everyone. Otherwise, people will not understand what you're going through. And if you're very transparent about it, then people will understand. So that's one of the major important lessons that I learned.
Brother Salman, how would you, obviously this has been, again, as Brother Abdul said, unprecedented, and especially obviously your business, which is the B2B platform of Funadik, basically. Obviously that has been the hardest. The Umrah business, the Hajj business, the tourist operators, the agents, they have basically crashed, and I've seen so many media reports where money is still stuck with airlines, money is stuck with hotels, etc. If you can tell us a little bit about your learnings there.
Yeah. See, as the brother Abdul was saying, Brother Nafez, what we have witnessed in last 6 to 8 months, this is historical. Your background is also in corporation, management consulting as well. Risk management, we never mapped this kind of disaster. That's so simple, right? And but then, subhanallah, this is where I believe a Muslim entrepreneur, a Muslim businessman versus a non-Muslim or somebody who is not, believers on the taqdeer, on the reality of life. And if you're short-sighted and dunya is the only thing that you have, then of course you're lost. You have nowhere to go. There is, people, the first, I remember when the news starts coming, and when it was kind of like, especially in our industry, in religious travel or generally travel and tourism and hospitality, it's like, you're driving on a highway, you're driving on 100, 120 kilometers per hour, and then immediately you just had to brake and everything just stopped. And simply the people were, specifically let's talk about Makkah and Medina, the pilgrims were in their hotels, somebody is moving between the cities, somebody is at the airport. So you can imagine the type of disaster that industry has faced. I would say a great job has been done by our community, by travel agents, by the Umrah operators, hotels, transport companies. The government of Saudi Arabia, to be very honest, have done an amazing job of taking care of people while they were stuck there. So moving on in terms of the business, I see the thing is, when you are in a business and you every day doing your accountability, You're saying what I have done today and why I have done this today. And then next morning you're again ready to go. So these changes, yes, these are disasters. Yes, these are uncertainties. But this is, as a Muslim, we have been trained. If you go back to the Quran, you go back to the Sunnah, and you go back to the life of Prophet ﷺ and his Sahaba, this is what they were dealing on daily basis. This is what they have gone through. Surprises, changes, the whole 23 years, just this is where the inspiration is coming from. Now, practically speaking, I believe a change like this, as much as it's a disaster, I believe it's going to put us on a highway that is much bigger, much opportunities are much higher, and the leap that the technologies and the businesses are experiencing. If you happen to be in that domain, let's say if you were in an e-commerce, you were in a food delivery business, you were in in some of those industries. So I think the whatever happened, it was a disaster. It was a big hit, a lot of learning, and time to move on, stay positive, and be part of that situation that is going on. This is a time to go back, look at your skill set, look at the industry again, what new areas that you want to dominate, pick up some of the people from a different industry, pick up their mind, identify your domain, and go after it with same yaqeen, with the same resilience, with the same commitment that we are going to make it together, and we are going to make it in a right way and a better way, inshallah.
Inshallah. Absolutely. So, Dr. Imran, now, as Brother Salman has mentioned, every difficulty brings up new opportunities. And this is, again, if you look at, for example, some of the e-commerce businesses, you look at, for example, Amazon, you look at other e-commerce platforms, they have actually made a killing. I would actually practically say they have literally made a killing out of these times, which was the most difficult time for most of the individuals or businesses. So what are the new opportunities which you would advise, not only today's days and age, but otherwise, with your experience, mashallah, for people to think about, to people to come up with ideas about, etc.?
I would refer to ayats from Holy Quran. فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. So these two ayats are actually telling us what to do. We know that mushkilat ke saath asani hai. Whenever there is anything, difficulty comes in your life, so there are solutions always built into that difficulty. Whatever that is coming across, you should see that problem from different angles. If you're looking at that problem from one angle, then you might see, oh my god, sorry, I can't move. But if you move a little bit right or left, or maybe you move around that problem, you will find the same problem as an opportunity. If you go back to 18th century, in 18th century, if you remember the Great Depression of 1930s, Disney was it was founded by some amazing people in that Great Depression in 1930s. 29 companies started in that Great Depression, and all those were in Fortune 500 list. P&G, it was started in the panic of 1837. General Electric, it was started in the panic of 1890s. IBM, it was started in 1896. GM, General Motors, it was started in 1908. So all these big companies, including Microsoft, it was in 1970s. The things were not pretty much okay. It was panic, and people were considering not to open a company, but Microsoft was open. So what we need to do, we need to find out ways to see if you have an ideal situation. In ideal situation, everyone can work. But if you have a difficult situation, you should find ways in between. in difficult situations, you have plenty of opportunities. Now it's time to calm yourself down and find ways of doing, first thing, find ways to help others. If you start helping others, you may find, more ways to help others. And sometimes it happens that you are doing it for free, but afterwards sometimes people say, yeah, if you're doing it free, do it for us, we'll pay you for this. I've seen many of my students, they started off making cakes, making shirts, making clothing, making t-shirts for students. Then later on, they became a big brand. One of my students, she started off with a abaya business when she was studying in BBA. And now I just saw her abaya design in one of the designers' diary, and he was, in fact, not diary. It was in his mobile phone, and I was literally happy to see that one of our students. She started off with few abayas, and she was doing it from her home. Now designers are following her designs. That's something amazing. So what we need to do, we need to actually start helping others. So these time, COVID-19 time, it is a wonderful opportunity for each one of us to come out of our homes and start helping others. Once you start helping others, you will find ways. For example, one of my students, she knew how to make calligraphies, and she was very much good at art and craft. I said, why don't you start an online class? She said, okay, let me make an outline. She sent me that outline, and she said, I'm going to offer this course in next 14 days. I said, come on, send me a small message. I spread that message in my contact list. Can you imagine, people from Gujranwala, from Kashmir, from different part of Pakistan, they enrolled in her course, and she, mashallah, helped kids in learning those new skills. And people from Kashmir, they said, my God, this is an amazing opportunity, sir, you gave us, because otherwise we won't be able to learn those skills. Living so far from Karachi, they are learning online all those skills. And you can say this is just because of COVID, otherwise we won't be able to think about these, out of the box ideas.
Yeah.
And just after that course, she started again another course, and then she started her new venture, Learnowate. Learnowate.com is an online training institute run by females. All the instructors are girls sitting at home. One a girl is good at English, another is good at storytelling, another is good at programming, and all those. She actually circulated a message among her peers, and all of them approached her, and they said, okay, come on, let's start a course. And last morning, I had a meeting with my friend. He approached me from Silicon Valley, because I'm running a school in Karachi. But after, just after COVID, we were forced to go online. We started our classes online. We experimented plenty of new things. We joined hands with Coursera. We joined hands with Google, G Suite. So Alhamdulillah, we are one of few schools in Pakistan who have collaboration with Coursera and Google. And my friend, he approached me from Silicon Valley. He said, come on, Imran, can you help me to set up the same venture in Silicon Valley, because we would like to offer these courses in California. Just imagine, I'm sitting in Karachi and he's living in California, and he said courses over there is pretty expensive. And if you're providing instructor-led trainings, then this is an amazing thing. In USA, per hour charges are pretty much high. But in Pakistan, it is not that expensive. So we can afford even good teachers here in Pakistan, but we can't afford sometimes good teachers in the US.
Yeah.
And now we are coming up with new idea, online Islamic school. So we just almost, we finalize one. I'm not supposed to disclose this idea, but I'm just giving you an idea that we are going to start online school. So there are plenty of ways one can, use this COVID thing. You can start organic diet business. You can start maybe e-sport, maybe disinfect specialist. You have to find out what do you know? Where are you good at? If you're good at something, find out, relate these circumstances with your area of expertise. If you're good at online healthcare counseling, then please do it. If you're good at, maybe only counseling, then there is a huge opportunity for, counseling. And if you're good at remote learning platform, online healthcare counseling, so opportunities are there. You just need to start with something. One of my students, he was alim. He did alim course from Darul Uloom Karachi. We did one training over there, Tijara boot camp. It was 2 days training, and Mufti Hazrat, they came to my training, alhamdulillah. And after the training, they said, sir, I would like to start this business because I learned cooking from my mother. I would like to open a restaurant in Gulshan. And now, alhamdulillah, he is successfully running a restaurant in Gulshan Iqbal. And in COVID, he said, my sale was exponential. Our expenses are almost zero. We have only one counter. We have one kitchen. And he said, our orders used to start coming from 5 onwards, 1 a.m. and at 1 a.m. we have to refuse those orders that, okay, it's our closing time, we can't take any more orders. And he said, we earned, mashallah, a lot. Same COVID time. I have seen many of my students, they started mango business. I've seen one of my friends from school business, and he said, I had to close my school just because I didn't have any choice. So he was from Sawat, he went to Sawat, farmers, and he found out some peaches, some peach and, different fruits from those farmers. And he sold those fruits to Karachi in those petis, So he started find out, other ways to earn money. So the point is, there are two types of, I'm just closing this question, that there are two ways: extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is money, fame, these are external. But intrinsic motivation is you are feeling happy about doing something. So start finding out the intrinsic motivation that is coming out from your inside. If you love to do something, then please do it. Okay, so extrinsic is temporary, intrinsic is long term. And in intrinsic motivation, if you fail, you will rise again. But when you talk about extrinsic motivation, if you started something with extrinsic motivation, fame and money, if you will fail in any venture, I'm telling you won't be able to stand up again, just because the motivation didn't came from inside.
Correct.
Thank you.
Jazakumullah khair. Jazakumullah khair, Dr. Imran. May Allah reward you for your efforts, inshallah, for helping people in Pakistan, inshallah. Brother Abdul Samad, I'm not really sure whether you're the right person to ask this question. I'm 100% sure that Brother Salman is the right person to ask this question, but I will start with you first. I'll just ask you this: have you had any experience of closing down any of your businesses?
Yeah, about
You've had
14 of them.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah, I didn't know that. So basically, how did you deal with it? When I won't call these failures. But I would say that maybe they didn't make much of a business sense, or maybe that it was not really working out. So how did you deal with it? What was your way of dealing with it?
So I'll relate to you, one of the bigger projects that we closed down was a restaurant we opened up in Lahore, and we had to close that down. We had spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort, hard work, all had put into it. We thought that we had done the right thing, and just the way we, all the experience of all the years we had put into that project, and then still we had to face the closure of that project. It was tough, no denial with that. It was tough, but again, you have to really see your fundamentals, as I say. So any failure is useful once, if you take it positively. You learn, you actually see the opportunities of learning, and where were the areas where you had created blind spots for yourself. So that's where we felt that we're still learning, because being in the industry for 10 odd years and you still happen to do that, failure was a setback for us, a big setback. And we realized that, we probably were thinking from not from the right perspective. Any new business, any new market, any new customer segment that we are targeting, we need to actually dig down and go back to the fundamentals of the business. We cannot just go on our whims and ideas. You really have to see what value are you adding. Are you solving a real problem? Are you adding something new? So these are the type of questions that even experienced business houses should be asking with every single project. And what you have to do, you have to come out very positive. I don't think anything is a failure in this world. We have to actually address our definitions of failures and successes. That's very important. Everything is a feedback and everything is a learning experience. Everything is a journey towards success. And if you have the right intentions and the right mindset, and inshallah it will be eventually it'll be a success, inshallah.
Inshallah. Brother Salman, similar to your situation, obviously you've had a number of challenges, not only from a legal perspective, obviously in businesses in Saudi Arabia, but otherwise as well, due to various other reasons. So how have you been dealing with all these challenges? And, mashallah, you're an inspiration of that perspective that you have pegged on, mashallah. So if you can tell us a little bit about that.
I think that's an area that nobody wants to talk about.
No, because this will be inshallah helpful for people to really pick themselves up.
You see, I think goes back to the fundamental values again. If you are in the business to make money and you lose money, it goes with a lot of other stuff too. But if you are in a business because you have a bigger picture, you have a role, you have some sort of a purpose that you need to serve, then you need to continue, right? And the only way out is you do it gracefully. You hold on to your values, you hold on to the trust that the people and the friends and the family and the customers has given it to you, or the employees, right? And goes back to the same thing, like, if you have a trust, you maintain that trust, you build that, the reputation that you have, this is what you're going to take away. So yes, you lose money, you lose business, you lose financial losses, and then you go into trouble. And in some cases, it's very hard to get up again. But that's what you got to do. And this is where the positivity, this is where the maturity of your personality, this is where your tawakkul, this is where all your failures that you have learned from, because that's what the brother of the Samad was saying, that you make an effort, you make mistakes. And then you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes. Then you learn from those mistakes and you make another effort. So it's a cycle. It's a continuous improvement cycle. It's like, you're learning and then you're deploying the same learning again, and then you're fixing the issues. It's not easy when you run into legal issues, when you have a profitable business, and then you run into those when you are, but if you have been doing a good job in terms of the confidence that it has been given to you by all those stakeholders, you're maintaining it right, you are fair in your terms of your transactions and deals and discussions and talk, and you're truthful, then it becomes easier to get out of it. Because the people do understand, the investors do understand, the employees do understand. Like, I think there was a question before about the COVID, and there is also a comment from a good friend right now on the Facebook saying how to come out of this, like literally, like how you're going to take care of the same friends and family and people who have been employed with you in your jobs and your businesses. Like, they're making their bread and butter from this. The only way is if you're transparent. The only way is if you're truthful. And I am lucky, alhamdulillah, I have a team, subhanallah, they have been with us for ages. Like, they started with us 14, 15 years ago, and they have suffered and they have taken the personal losses and emotional losses, but they are still sticking around. And I believe this is how the binding should be. And it's all about people. The money, the processes, the product, the market is going to keep changing. You just get hold of the right people, and that's where I think the key is that, building partnerships, hiring people, that's the most important step of any business. You can make or break it. Honestly speaking, if you choose a wrong co-founder, if you choose a partner, an investor, a VC, a private equity office, anybody that you're choosing, they can make your life miserable. They can destroy your positivity. So if you are concerned with anything and you want to take away one thing out of this whole discussion, I would say choose your partners and employees correctly. Invest your time, understand, and there's no one definition of who's right and wrong.
Yeah.
Right? My definition of right and wrong could be different than Brother Abdul Samad and Brother Dr. Imran. But so if I am building a business, I need people who understands what that business is. And if they don't understand and they have the qualities and attributes that they have a potential to become my partner in that game, partner in terms of employee, colleague, or investors or whatever, then I have to invest my time to uplift them and train them and educate them and then bring them to a level where, so I need to take that responsibility. So I think this is my my way of approaching a failure.
Okay, mashallah, I think it makes obviously a lot of sense. I think someone has something open. Okay, now basically, before I come to Dr. Imran, just a very quick question to you, Brother Abdul Samad. You mentioned about this Lahore restaurant which didn't work out. Do you think that there is any such thing as a most viable product? Do you think it failed because it was not properly conceived?
I think with our project, yes, I agree that there should be a minimum viable product. We should have gone slow. We should have gone with a smaller size and tested the market first. We should have understood the customer preferences closely. So I totally agree that there should be any new market, any new product, you need to go with a minimum viable product. You should go slow, small. You should actually let the product evolve as per the consumer requirements, because there's only so much you can understand just by being outside of the market. You have to take the product to the people so that you can get the feedback and you can adapt, you can reiterate, so you have to prototype first. I agree.
There has to be a proof of concept. Start small. Yeah, start small. Absolutely. Is the key here. Okay. Dr. Imran, coming to you, can you just tell us a little bit about the training opportunities which are available for new entrepreneurs from an IBA perspective, in even other courses, for example, which you have been conducting?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say something related to failure. Then I'll come on to your question.
Sure.
What we have experienced, we have been experiencing this in the past couple of decades. We have seen, ups and downs, financial bubble, recession period of 2007-8, financial recession, and now COVID. So we feel that failure is, you will fail at some point in your life. Sooner or later, you will fail. Okay? You will get success and fail. Success and failure both are part of your life. So you should embrace it because it's inevitable. If you have fear of failure, then you won't be able to, move forward. The problem is, fear is, if you have fear of failure, then you always start thinking skeptical about your decisions. And like I have made some notes for you. Nelson Mandela said once, he said, there is no passion to be found playing it small and settling for a life that's less than the one you are capable of living. So risk is actually part of your life. Without risk, your life is nothing. You will come across, plenty of opportunities in your life. Sometimes you tap it and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you miss it and you say, oh my God, I should have done it. So I would suggest, I would say, keep on practicing, take a small risk, big risk, small, big, small, big, small, big, and make yourself habitual of taking risk. If you will start practicing this thing, then you will be able to become a very good businessman or an entrepreneur. Because if you are not habitual of taking risk, then condition like COVID, you will get panic. Even you will see opportunity in front of you, but you won't be able to tap it just because the fear is inside you. You have not taken that fear out of your mind.
Yeah.
So don't give a room in your mind. Don't give a room to fear in your mind. Okay. So build a personality that is fearless. And for a Muslim, it's easy because we have strong tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know that success and failure both are in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know, what I teach in the past, 10, 12 years, the research that I've done related to Islamic entrepreneurship or tijara related, Islamic way of doing business from the Sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that we have certain ways to start things. First thing, take mashwara from experts from the same field. This is the Sunnah, and this is also from the Quran. It's proven from the ayah of the Quran. And from the hadith, istikhara, take advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Offer 2 rakat namaz and recite that dua and embed your request in that dua. Allahumma inni astakhiruka, so on. Okay? So this is what, because I have, extracted my frameworks from the Quran and hadith, because we have been teaching Western models for the past couple of decades. Now I have changed my approach. Why? Because those practices are coming from 80s and 90s. Those were ideal times. But now these are, challenging times. And what we have seen, that even in the US, they are practicing religious entrepreneurship, spiritual entrepreneurship and other, because, stress is almost everywhere. So I said, why not from Islamic? So that's why we extracted our framework from Islamic practices. So like Sahaba, they used to say that we do istikhara like for everything. Even for a small thing, we used to do istikhara. So istikhara means if that thing is not good for you, it will automatically close. And you will also be satisfied. That is the best part. I've been doing it in my life and I'm satisfied. And sometimes I do something and I'm desperate about that venture that I have to start it, but somehow it won't get started. Yeah. Then sometimes we got disturbed. But later on I say, no, because I did istikhara, that means it's good for me. So that is the satisfaction that I receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we should keep on practicing. So I would say, up to Samad, my help is with you. I am ready to volunteer you if you would like to start that venture in Lahore again. I might give you some ideas. Maybe you are pretty mashallah expert in that field, but maybe if I see, because you are in that domain and you are in that problem, I'm not in that circle of problem. I'm outside that problem circle. So maybe I can help you offline. Okay, coming back to your question, Brother Nafis, that what are the ventures that we should start now? So there are few ventures that we see these days, knowledge-based ventures like AI, machine learning. It's pretty much in. You don't need to invest your any money. You can learn skills from free courses from Coursera, from edX, from Udacity. Even you don't need to take admission in any university. But if you love to take classes, then you can join IBA or any other good university, and maybe investing in your career. It's not a I would say a bad deal. You can invest your hours and money and learn from those courses and then apply it in opportunities like ML and AI. But I would say, if you don't have any background of AI and ML, don't go for it. Again, see what do you know. from the hadith of Sunan Abi Dawud, I'm not reciting that big hadith, we have extracted a framework out of it, and we call it AMR, available means and resources. It has a mathematical formula and detailed explanation. There's an FFMR, there's an UFFMR, and there's an ultra super UFFMR. So what humans, we make mistake, we look for far-fetched opportunities. Okay, so whatever you know, find out inside you, find out whatever the skills you are having, whatever the resources you have in your home. Maybe you're good at plantation, start something related to that. If you're good at cooking, start cooking. Like my student, she started Learnovate. She knew few skills. She knew how to motivate girls. She knew art and craft. She started online academy. My student, other student, the Alim student, he did Alim course from, he was Hafiz also, and he did Hafiz course from Madrasa, and then he was good at, he wanted to do some business, but after taking 2 days course, he was motivated. He knew some stories of Hazrat Abdurrahman bin Auf Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, Usman Ghani Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu, and other Sahaba Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So he was pretty much motivated. He said, sir, now I have to do business. So I said, find out what you can do. So he came after a couple of months. He said, I know this skill. He knew how to cook things. He learned that skill from her mother, and he started his own restaurant. That's fine, no problem. And one of my students, he was good at software making, so he started his software house. Another student, he was good at selling things. He said, sir, I want to start something. I said, don't start e-commerce first. I gave him target of 10,000 for 1 week. I said, come on, earn 10,000 in a week and come back to me. If you will be able to earn 10,000 in next 7 days or 10 days, then I would let you know how to start an online business. And the amazing thing is, he was able to earn 8,000 in next 7 days. That was amazing. And he was so much, disturbed before 7 days, and after 7 days, he was happy. So this is what I say, that whatever you know, find out inside you. Like I said, intrinsic motivation is important. Okay. And I would also say, study Book of Transactions from Sahih Bukhari. This is an amazing text. What I have, I have conducted trainings in masajid also, and people said, we have that, big jild, all those sets of Sahih Bukhari, but the hadith that you are teaching us, it's new to us. We haven't, heard about these hadiths. I said, come on, it is inside Sahih Bukhari.
Brother Imran, Dr. Imran, sorry, just, because it's, we cannot go into very, very long answers, inshallah. Please try to make it short, because we have to go on. We are actually having separate shows on financial transactions from an Islamic perspective, from a business perspective. So, inshallah, we'll be covering all those topics there. So, if I may request you to please, just concise the answer, inshallah.
Right. So, the ventures that I would request, which is pretty much in these days, like technology related, but you should see whether you have that background knowledge or not, or organic food business, or maybe if you're talking about textile industry, if you are good at selling textile products, then you can sell textile product. If you have science background, maybe come up with some science products. So opportunities are very much there. In IBA, we have incubation facility. You can apply for incubation, and we have experts, mentors who can guide you and take you to that journey. It's a tough journey. I would say it's not for everyone, but it was for those who would like to bear the pain. If you are ready to take the pain, there is no gain without pain. It's a famous saying. Please.
Absolutely. Jazakallah khair, Dr. Arain. I would just like to remind the audience on a number of things. Whichever country you are in, there are a number of incubation centers in across the world. For example, the US, you have something like Y incubator. Dr. Imran is mentioning Y Combinator, exactly. In Canada, there are other incubators. Actually, we've discussed last week in the Sisters show. In other parts of the globe. So search within your community, search within your academic circles, your business circles, your community circles to find out exactly how you can be a part of such organizations. How can you be a part of such, efforts, and then you can actually come up with ideas, come up with the business plan, etc., etc., and then you can present to these particular incubators, and they can help you, guide you, etc., to start up, inshallah, your own area of expertise. Now, coming to again, brother Salman, you have been dealing with obviously technology as well as other businesses. Technology nowadays obviously has a very, very important role to play in all aspects of business. Now, Funadik as your platform, which is the B2B platform, is obviously purely technology based. Yeah. Now, what do you suggest? Because some of these are expensive propositions. It requires a lot of manpower, effort, etc. To have it working. So, in your again, what is your suggestion for new kind of entrants into this domain? How can they actually start something which is taking help from technology?
I think there are two parts to the technology. One is let's talk about the business model first. I think when you mentioned about the B2B and Funadik, I believe the technology is something that can enable you to get the attention, get the reach, bring the transparency, hold products. But end of the day, your technology should be to convert a business model that should exist. Your revenue model should exist. The product should have a demand, and there has to be a market for it. So, generally speaking, what happened is a lot of people like me and others and our young youth, we go around and we start brainstorming and searching for what we should be building next. And we start finding industries and areas where, this could be a good idea, this is a good idea, this is a good idea. I believe the best idea is the one that you experience to yourself. If you experience a problem, and then you create a solution for yourself, and then you find out that this solution is required for many people like me, and then you go into converting it into a product and then scaling it and growing it, that's a much more success probability than just looking at, right now, education is a very good domain, let me get into education. I have been approached by so many friends right now that farming is a great opportunity. If I don't have the passion and the interest in farming, I'm not going to be a good farmer. I cannot create a good product unless I need myself. That is the starting point. Now, coming back to the technology, we have Amazon model. That is the most success story of e-commerce today available. We have, other products that are out there. Let's say Uber was another example for it. Completely driven by technology. And look when the maturity starts coming into e-commerce and the competition is out there, because technology is something that, as Dr. Imran was saying, we can learn, right? And we are going to come up, and then we are going to create those clone applications, and we are going to come and dominate into areas. It's the original business model. So Funadik is not only a technology platform, we have people on the ground. We reach to the customers. We are converting, we are using a technology to bring the value for the customers, but when it comes to the delivery, then we are on the ground, we support people because that's what the product and the industry needs. Walmart is a very good example right now. So what Walmart had versus Amazon, that Walmart was having the physical stores, and Amazon was a digital stores or marketplace. What is Amazon doing right now? Amazon is building their own fulfillment centers across the countries.
Yep.
And what Walmart is doing now is creating the digital presence. So you see, end of the day, you start either from a brick and mortar or you start from the digital. Eventually, you're going to come and you have to have a physical assets. You have to have, yes, there are a few industries that's where you can take the advantage. Now comes to the technology and the domains. I believe I agree with Dr. Imran. AI and ML is the ready technology. Today, in each of our own domains, we need to look at it, how it can improve the customer service, how it can improve the technology in terms of deployment of AI and ML, in terms of production, the quality, the accounting, the repetitive tasks that we cannot comprehend, marketing. So these are all AI, ML sort of like use cases that each one of us has to come up with. In a medium term, I think we cannot ignore blockchain. I believe that the blockchain is going to come and is going to help a lot of businesses to bring that transparency and the integrity of data. And that is, of course, the moment you talk about the blockchain technology and the data analytics and all the data sciences comes into the place. Long term, 10 years, quantum computing. Our people, our students, our colleges, universities, schools have to start looking into deploying resources, committing our resources in terms of those technologies in the long term. So that's what it is. Sorry, just very quickly, in order to start, when you are starting any business, tons of utilities and the SaaS softwares are available on cloud. Do not spend time in terms of heavy implementations and buying and spending money. Products like the full ERPs are available for $10, $5, $20, and you can have CRMs, you can have accounting systems and BI, and everything is available on the internet right now. So the startups, the businesses, this is the way to go.
Yeah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. I think the people who are listening, it will be helpful for them, inshallah. Brother Abdul, about the last question before we go to the audience questions. Quick one. The pressures on family. How do you deal with that? Especially you.
That's the most difficult one. No, what I did was I actually made it very clear from the beginning. Do not have very high expectations. So when you have for time, so you have to have set the expectations very clear from the day one. And if you feel that you will be compromising on some of the aspects, then you have to cover it up. You have to play smart. You have to find out creative ways where you can actually compensate that. It's very critical. But first is to set the expectations clear, expectations right. Then you have to find creative ways. How can you compensate the time that you were not able to give to them? Then you find those, you probably take them out for an extra vacation or something like that.
Okay. No, you were not able to convince me here, brother Abdul.
Okay. That's what
I'll leave it to the audience to decide. I'll leave it to the audience to decide. Okay, now
brother Noyes, even Steve Jobs' wife, she left him.
Bezos also.
Bezos.
Yes. So we have some first stories. So you have to give.
You can decide. You can decide in between. You can decide in between. The more will come. Don't worry about it.
Inshallah.
See, you don't know. First one was good, or maybe later one.
Okay, now the first question which we are taking from the audience: without any experience of job, how can we decide how we can trust anyone for the first time business? Anyone can answer. I won't pinpoint. Whoever wants to answer.
I can go.
Yeah.
So, see, the thing is, it's not about the experience, right? What we said from the beginning, it's not about the idea. It's not about the, it's about the efforts. If you are ready, first of all, you need to build that habits that are required to be an entrepreneur or a businessman. So if you got this is not like, something hidden in today's world, in today's time, everybody knows that what are the skills that you need in order to become a better businessman. So first of all, I would say, I think it's related to the question, the last question that Brother Abdul Samad was answering about the family. Look, if your family and the friends and the people that you care about, if they are not on board, do not take this route. It's that simple. It is, if you cannot convince them that you are the right person to go and lead, you cannot convince even your customers. You cannot convince your employees how they're going to trust and pay money while your own wife and your parents and your sister and brothers and your children are not ready and they're not accepting you to take that type of risk. So it starts from there. It's not a single journey. You cannot start it. You cannot go too far with it, right? And especially the people who care about the families and the friends. And there are people who are very career oriented, and that they don't care about it. You have, by the way, see, you have priorities in life. So going back to the question, if whatever you're doing in terms of in terms of starting a business and without any experience, you can learn. You need to just try. And how to start? Oh, tons of material available to understand your starting point. And I think Dr. Imran guided you in a very good direction. Look at your skills, look at your interest, identify the industry that you want to, out of those interests that can help you to go into that industry, and go and sit with the people who are senior in that industry and that businesses, and ask them, request them bluntly, openly, say, you know what, I want to learn from you, make me as your student. Go through that tough path that Abdul Samad was saying. Go do the dirty work. Patience is the key. You don't have to be successful in the next 2-3 years. It may take 10 years. It may take 15 years, especially if you're very young and new.
Yeah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Dr. Imran, this question is for you, please. How much doing degree helps in business? Because in Pakistan, we usually saw an uneducated person running powerful business, and after doing many years study, they are employed with little money because they fail to take the risks.
So degree is not important, I would say. For business, you need struggle, you need background knowledge, you need to put your time, you need to invest your time, efforts, learn from your mistakes, keep on moving, pivot your maybe decisions. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you receive success. Take help from, do not shy from taking help from others. Okay, I would say degree education it's basically for life. It's not for business. If you're saying that I'm learning only for business, maybe it's not correct, because when you get into the market, you sometimes learn plenty of things. It's a real life lab. It's a hands-on thing. You also learn from your classroom, your books also. But once you are in that journey, in that business journey, that is the real learning. So if you want to start your business, I would say start from today. If you don't know that, for example, if you have an amazing idea, go and discuss it, learn it, maybe spend some time with experts, couple of years. Do not start right away. Okay, spend time. Maybe after some time you may change your mind, or maybe you will learn some skills, and then you will be able to take first step. So this is my suggestion. A degree is not important, not at all important for starting your own business. I've seen so many businessmen without maybe I know some of them, they haven't gone to schools even. So degree is not a condition for business.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. I think now we'll inshallah call it today. Just a few comments which I would request all the panelists to make. Just some summarizing kind of concluding remarks. Brother Abdul Samad, if you'd like to make any concluding remarks, inshallah.
I think, as most of the brothers here as well said, that in order to get into business or entrepreneurship career, you need to have the fundamentals right. I think business is very simple. It's not something which is rocket science. It has become, but the reason why we face challenges is when we swerve away from the fundamentals. Fundamentals like, as Salman Bhai clearly pointed out, you have to solve the real problems. You have to see that the product market fit is there. You have to see that the business will be sustainable. It won't be burning cash. You have to be customer centric. These are all the fundamentals that you have to go through, and you have to be ready to get the hands dirty. One question that came up, that regarding a job, I think you should get into any sort of job that you can get your hands to. It does not necessarily mean that the business field that you want to get into, even if you get into work for a restaurant, work for a retail store, just those experiences give you an organizational exposure. There are a lot of things, those are constant in every business. Like, you have to manage the finances, you have to manage the marketing, you have to understand what customer demands are. You have to deal with employees, different functions. So you get the exposure of an organization. So you go ahead and do that just for a small period of time, so that you have that fundamental business experience, and then you can go and create your product or business. So
okay. Yeah, Jazakumullah khair, Brother Salman.
I think a great session today. I would say it's just before I move on, I think what Dr. Imran said about the degree, I have a different opinion on that. I think for the youth, it's a great thing to do. Get your degree. It gives you a confidence. It gives you the kickstart. It gives you the ability to move on into those circles, and it also helps in terms of getting your business, a lot of things right. But that's my personal, opinion regarding I believe it's for anybody who wants to start, just to start. I believe that's what it is. When you feel that you are confident enough and you have the trust and you believe that you are that material, go keep reading Quran, get learning from the Quran. There is an abundant directions available. You go pick it up, those ayat, learn that passion, learn that how to be sabir, with the patience, the trust, the yaqeen, but start. And once you start, then you continuously, don't try to be perfectionist, because you won't be able to. There is no single business model that ever has been created in the history from day one that is perfect. There is no single IT system has been built. There is no single business revenue generation system has been built like that. You're always going to pivot. You're always going to change. You're always going to improve and learn from your customers' mistakes, from your own internal, new people bring in new dimensions, external factors, internal factors. You're going to change. So continuously you need to change. Prophet ﷺ said once that he basically mentioned that your tomorrow should be better than your yesterday. So that is a clear direction for us as a businessman, as a human, as Muslim. We need to continuously improving ourselves. And that's where the game is for the business. The more adoption you're going to do, the more pivoting you're going to do, the more learning you're going to do, the better businessman and successful businessman, the probability is, the chances are, you can become.
Okay, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Brother Dr. Imran, final comments from your side.
To start any venture, I would say you need to have strong nerves. You should be emotionally strong. And you should build that fearless habit, fearless and proactive attitude. Read the situation beforehand. You need to have risk-oriented, like risk-taking. Also, you should start practicing that thing. Small or big. You have to build that entrepreneurial kind of mindset. If you don't have that mindset, if your mindset is maybe a job oriented, then you won't be able to get success. And if you have business job oriented mind and you're doing business, you won't be able to get success in business. But if you have business mind, you are doing job, you won't be able to get success in job. So I'm not forcing anyone to must start your business. Like what I have seen, like Brother Salman said, degree is important, but what we have been experiencing these days in the world, that 16 years, 15 years old kids are working in Google. Okay, they have just cleared their O levels, 10th grade, just because they've been programming from early age, 12, 13. Now, after 3 years of programming experience, Google has, hired them. They are giving them $8,000, $10,000 per month. This is normal. Okay, we know in Tiaz's store, the guy, he's not at all educated. We know Malik Riaz, he is matriculated. He is one of the
Riaz
richest.
is not a good example, brother.
No. See, let me clear here. He is such an amazing guy. I have seen his interview. He said whatever he said in his interview. He said bluntly. He said, I put wheels inside the file, under the file. But he is honest. Whether he is doing good or bad, I'm not saying this that the business that he is doing is good or bad, but he is honest in his whatever he's saying bluntly. He is not a munafiq, I would say, in what I have seen. He's not hiding anything from anyone. He said, I'm metric pass. I was failed in my first attempt, and second time I cleared, and my number was 333. Even I was -1. If it was 332, I got failed. Now see, but what I'm saying, that for business, degree is not a condition. Yes, it's good for rishta, it's good for marriage, but for business families, I have seen, I've been doing consultancy with family businesses, and they are saying, okay, fine, you want to do medical, go medical, do engineering, do CA, whatever, but after some time you have to join our business. So why not join it early? Okay, so it's I'm not against degree, by the way. I'm not demotivating anyone from getting education. So it's good to have good degrees, but for business it's not a condition. Anyways, last words, the final words for today is, follow the footstep of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he was sent us in this world for only success, not for failure. If we follow the path of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, footsteps of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, inshallah we will get success. Failure, you won't see any failure on his path. There is only success, and the final ultimate success, you will get into the Jannah, and may Allah give us highest ranks in Jannatul Firdaus. Jazakumullah khair from my side. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Jazakumullah khair, all the panelists. Brother Abdul, you wanted to say something?
Oh, Jazakallah.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair, everyone, for listening, and I hope, inshallah, today's session was useful, because what we have tried to do is to bring in experience from different spheres of business acumen and intelligence. I hope, inshallah, that you will be able to seek benefit also from the previous 2 sessions, which we've had remarkable sessions, alhamdulillah. Now, next week's session, mashallah, we have gathered a team which is an extraordinary team, I would say, because this team is our educational entrepreneurs. So these individuals are running educational and training opportunities, qualifications online, as Brother Imran has been mentioning, that, mashallah, he's trying to come up with something. And each of them have more than 200,000 students. So these are major players in the educational entrepreneurship. We tried to bring in some other individuals, to actually give you another flavor as to what in training and education, what are the opportunities in training and education when you're talking about entrepreneurship from that perspective. The last show on the entrepreneurship topic, inshallah, which is going to be in 2 weeks' time, is going to be discussing the financial transactions and what is the correct mode of financing from an Islamic perspective if you want to venture out into, for example, funding, or you're looking for equity, etc. So that is the last show, inshallah, which is going to be happening in 2 weeks' time on this particular topic. So Jazakumullah khair to Dr. Imran. It's our pleasure to have you here. Brother Salman, Jazakumullah khair for your time. Brother Abdul Samad, you're always so nice to see you, always, mashallah, and may Allah reward all of you. May Allah, inshallah, reward all the listeners, and may Allah increase the risk of everyone, and may Allah enable us to, inshallah, do away with this difficult time for everyone, and we are able to, inshallah, go back to, as they say, the absolute normal which was there before Corona came in. So, inshallah, see you next week. same time. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.